Okay guys, so in my last video I teach you about the refrigeration cycle, and in this video I will discuss something more briefly about the refrigeration cycle. So in the refrigeration cycle I told you one equation CCEE. So here is the compressor. From compressor the refrigerant go to the condenser. From condenser is go to the expansion valve. Before the expansion valve there is the filter dryer. And after expansion valve there is the evaporator, and then the refrigerant go back to the compressor. Okay guys, so this condenser and this evaporator both are the heat exchanger. Condenser also heat exchanger, evaporator also heat exchanger. In the compressor the pressure and temperature of the refrigerant getting higher because it get compressed by the compressor, and in the expansion valve the temperature and pressure of the refrigerant coming down because it's reduce the flow of the refrigerant. So the pressure decrease, temperature also decrease. So what happen in the compressor, as you can understand, the compressor can only compress the vapor refrigerant, only the vapor form. So in the compressor the low pressure and low temperature vapor refrigerant enter inside the compressor. So in the compressor is getting compressed and its pressure increase, so its temperature also increase, and then from compressor the high pressure high temperature vapor refrigerant go to the condenser. So in condenser what we do, we use the water inlet and outlet. Somewhere we use the air, it depend. So mostly the system I talking about, there we use the water. So by the water we cool down the condenser. So what happen when the high pressure high temperature vapor refrigerant when it's passed through the condenser, so the water that is flow, the low temperature water that is flow through the condenser, it absorb the heat from the refrigerant and the refrigerant change into liquid form. But its temperature and pressure is still high. So this liquid form of refrigerant is go to the expansion valve through the filter dryer. In the filter dryer the refrigerant get filtered, and there is if any moisture, air or any non-condensable substance if is there in the refrigerant, it can be absorbed by the filter dryer. Okay guys, so after the condenser the refrigerant change into high pressure high temperature liquid refrigerant. In the inlet of the condenser the form was vapor, but the outlet of the condenser the form of the refrigerant is liquid. Okay, how is change into liquid? Because we use the low temperature water for cool down the condenser. Okay, so it's like a heat exchanger. And then from here is go to the expansion valve. In the expansion valve the refrigerant flow get reduced because expansion valve regulate the flow of the refrigerant. So the pressure of the refrigerant get reduced. When the pressure of the refrigerant reduced, the temperature also reduced, but the form is still liquid. So here the refrigerant is liquid form, but its pressure and temperature is reduced because of the expansion valve. So how does the expansion valve work? So expansion valve have the capillary tube. This capillary tube have valve. This valve is connected on the outlet of the evaporator, the refrigerant line, the outlet of the evaporator. So is this valve sense the temperature of this outlet of the evaporator, how much the temperature, and according to that temperature this expansion valve control the flow of the refrigerant. So guys, so after the expansion valve, when this refrigerant, the liquid refrigerant, that is the pressure and temperature is low, when it enter in the evaporator, so what happen in the evaporator, also there is the water coming. So in the evaporator, the water that is coming, which water is that? This water is the water that is coming from the cooling coil in the AHU. Okay, so this water temperature is high. So what happened? This is the low temperature, low pressure liquid refrigerant. It absorbs the heat from this water, from the chilled water, and is changed into vapor form. The refrigerant change into vapor form. So then this vapor form refrigerant again go back inside the compressor. So the thing that we have to keep in mind is this, that on this half portion where after the expansion valve and before the compressor, means the compressor suction and the expansion valve outlet, in this portion, in this all portion, the refrigerant pressure and temperature is always low. Okay, and from the discharge of the compressor and before the inlet of the expansion valve, so all this portion always the pressure and temperature of the refrigerant is always high. These things we have to keep in mind, and always after the outlet of the condenser and the inlet of the evaporator. So in this portion, refrigerant always in the liquid form, and from the outlet of the evaporator and the inlet of the condenser, in this all area the refrigerant always in the vapor form. Okay guys, so in the next video I will teach you some other topics, so stay tuned. Always keep in mind that I try to teach you everything is very easy and very in the confidence way, so you guys can understand everything very easily and you always keep that in your mind. So guys, see you later. Thank you.